Hi everybody, hope you're having a blessed day, and it's so good to be here with you all. And it's been a while since I've done a video like this, and this video is for those who are really wanting transformation in their life, emotionally, physically, mentally and spiritually. And my name's Syra, I'm a quantum healer and wellness coach, and that's exactly what I did. I went for a huge transformation and literally changed my health and lifestyle, and shifted out of the old patterns that was really keeping me stuck. And it's really elevated my consciousness to the point where it allowed me to just take the nudges that my soul was asking, and now my spiritual gifts are just enhancing and activating my channeling and my light language, and these new awarenesses that keep being downloaded to me are all because of the choices I made that at the time felt really uncomfortable. Didn't want to make the changes. It was shifting everything that I knew, that I identified with, that version of me that was the party girl, was the DJ, that loved to socialise, had a drink. I would never say I had a drinking problem at all, but drinking was just part of my life. And so it's been 6 years since I've had a drink now, and that was a huge quantum leap that I had, and there's videos on that if you want to check that out. But if you really want wanting to have transformation in your life and change your lifestyle, or really just you're starting to identify these patterns or the behaviors or these cycles that you keep finding yourself in, and it all starts with the emotions, and then it will show itself as a behavior physically, or maybe acting in a certain way that you're sick of like being in that loop, and you're saying, why do I keep doing this? I know it's not good for me. The consequences of the behaviors and the actions that you're doing. For example, eating sugar is just not going to be healthy for you. Eating sugar clouds your judgment, and when you open that packet of crisps or the cakes or whatever, you can't stop. You have to have it all. And I've been there. I know exactly what that feels like, the overeating. And even for me, like going on my health journey and fasting and all of these aspects where I changed my life, the overeating was still part of it, and I was justifying it because it was healthy food I was eating, right? And so I had to really get deep into the emotional side of it and really understand what is it that's creating me to overeat. And a lot of it, for many of us, will probably feel safety. Our nervous system is dysregulated and we're in survival mode instead of in our soul mode. And so it's really understanding on an emotional level what's driving this behavior. And so this is kind of what I do with my clients and with myself as well. And it's been hugely transformational with really getting to the root cause of what's driving these behaviors. Because when you bring awareness to it, you identify it, then you can change it. Because if you don't know what you don't know, right? If it's unconscious, how can you make changes on things you don't know? And so it is taking those steps. And so you will be led to the next step that is for your highest potential. And so the true transformation really comes from a desire to change. If you have no desire or want to change, it's going to be a bit more challenging. Your soul may want to change, but if you don't want to, you're going to be met with a lot of resistance, and so it's going to create a lot of suffering. So surrendering to what wants to be kind of like changed within you, and maybe a new identity to be birthed, because our soul is the one leading the way, and we can fight against it all we want. And that is because the fighting can happen within us, because the identity that we've kind of cemented and we know is holding tight and wants to stay in that identity and that persona. But your soul is wanting to a new identity, a new experience to emerge. And it might be, right, you've been doing this kind of you've been on this path for a while now it's time for a change. Now it's time to align with the soul. And so this is what happened to me. And when I started to surrender and align with what my soul was asking me to do, it led me to doing juicing. I actually thought I'd only do 3 days of juicing, but I ended up doing 21 days and 3 days of water, so 24 days in total. And there's a video on that on my YouTube if you want to check it out. But that really was the catalyst to bringing more self-awareness, because I had the toxins were being released out of my body. I had brain fog that, I didn't even know that you could clear. It was like the clouds had parted and there was blue skies. And so I started to see the foods that I had been consuming were just really toxic to the body. Inflammation, fatigue, tiredness, like lack of sleep, and all of these ailments that like dry skin, all of these ailments were just all impacted by what I was feeding my body. And so once I really cleansed that, it really did shift many things in my life, to the point where it led me to launching my business. It then led me to realizing that when I've cleaned my vessel out, and I went raw vegan after that, or predominantly raw vegan after that, I realized that like alcohol is poison and I'm just putting poison in my body. And it just didn't align. It was like I'd have one glass of wine and my body would tell me like, so it became like the choiceless choice in a way, where I had a moment where, and it wasn't easy. I was in this battle where I had to decide, do I want to have this glass of wine that was presented in front of me? And I was looking at this red wine for about an hour, deciding whether I was going to drink it or not. I knew how much it would set me back. And so when I said no and gave it to a friend, that was when I quantum leaped. And it's not like I say I'm sober. I literally shifted into a new version of myself. Like all my cells are new. And Joe Dispenza does talk about this. It's the heart brain coherence. And this is how you can truly heal, when you shift into and embody a new identity, a new version of yourself that was in a different timeline, and you've brought it into this present moment by a choice. So you've got a choice today. Do you really want to have transformation? And I'm here to help and guide you and support you transform emotionally, physically, mentally, and spiritually, because I've gone through it myself. So I absolutely relate to everything that you're experiencing, the resistances, and how you can do that. And so it is baby steps, and I work with my guides to help really highlight areas that you are really wanting to clear, and we'll just get deeper into understanding what is it that your desire, and where are you now, and how can we bridge that gap. And so I've got a 21-day gut protocol. It's going to really help support the physical body and reset the microbiome and rebalance it, and bring in more of the good bacteria. And so starting off really focusing on what am I feeding my body, and eliminating all the areas that you don't want. And it might be that you're already healthy, but you're already seeing these patterns that keep emerging in your life. And it might be, toxic relationships that keep coming to the surface, or there's just these behaviors that you're noticing. It might be that you're in this energy of just over consuming, and it's like the mind just wants to go next, and it's understanding and unraveling why do we do these behaviors and these habitual ways in which we just find ourselves looping it again and again and again, and even the thought patterns and things like that. So it's really like exciting when you start delving deep, because when you bring it to the surface, you realize and go, oh my God, look at what I've been doing, look at how I've been behaving, and why have I been doing this? And so you get to then change it, you get to rewrite your story. And that's what I'm about, rewriting the story, rewriting the script. And so I know that time has been something that I've been working with, where, I feel like, oh, there's not enough time in the day, and it does boil down to lack. And so I had this realization that, oh my God, I believe there's not enough time in the day, because I actually believe that time is against me. And when I had this realization and this awareness, I chose differently. And I said to myself, I am no longer going to believe that anymore. I believe that time is always working in my favor. And I keep repeating that. And when you start to really want to rewrite the story, you repeat that over and over again. And when you notice falling into old patterns, or saying the old words that would say the opposite, you go, no, time's always working in my favor. And so the universe, life, reality will actually reflect back to you this new story, this new belief system. And this happened to me. On that day when I changed that belief system, I was meeting people all divinely. It was so guided. It was so beautiful. Like my daughter was at the beach with my daughter, and we'd been to the beach the day before, and I said, which part of the beach do you want to go? Do you want to go to the left side of the beach or the right side of the beach? And she just said, oh, I'm getting pointing going to the right. And we just literally bumped into a cleaner that I'd just literally hired, and I'd been thinking about that day. And, you know, before that, I was always rushing about, okay, where do I need to be? What time do I need to get there? And it was like, no, like just, I'd been flowing that day. And lo and behold, the cleaner was literally like 5 seconds in front of us. And then I scheduled an appointment that day for the Monday. And then another friend, we'd scheduled time that weekend to be with her, and we saw her like that day, even though we hadn't planned to see her that day, at the right time in the car park. And that's because I've been saying this affirmation. And so it's the universe will show you when you've got a new belief system and you've rewritten that story. And so look at the desire, look at the wants, look at where you want to be and where you are now, and how can you bridge that gap. And that's where I can come in and help you. So I hope this video has been helpful. Have a blessed day, everybody.